Blue Jays fans are still reeling from Friday's Ohtani watch and the gut punch that was Saturday afternoon's announcement from the LA Dodgers. Now, in case you missed it, on Friday, once-in-a-generation ball player Shohei Ohtani was rumored to be on his way to Toronto to sign a deal with the Jays. But by late afternoon, it was clear that inaccurate reporting from certain baseball journalists and the magic of the internet had combined to mutate an untruth into a believable possibility. On Saturday, the Los Angeles Dodgers announcing Ohtani had agreed to a 10-year contract worth a whopping record-setting $700 million. The Dodgers were the early favorites to land Ohtani from the Angels, but some analysts had Toronto emerging as a strong contender. For more, we're joined by sports analyst and Toronto Metropolitan University sport media professor Dan Berlin. Dan, were you letting yourself get excited on Friday? Did you think the Jays had a real shot at Ohtani?
You know, I have to admit, at one point there, I kind of fell for it, was led to think, oh my goodness, Shohei Ohtani coming to Toronto here. And of course, all of those reports turned out to be erroneous. And it turns out that Ohtani really always wanted to be in Southern California that whole time. So I think this really turned into a masterclass of having a player agent leverage another team and leverage social media for the purpose of trying to drive up the price for their own client. And in the end, 10 years, $700 million for Ohtani to stay in Southern California and just go to the LA Dodgers. I can't say I'm too surprised at this point.
Tell me more about that. Why do you think this was his agent leveraging the Dodgers?
Yeah, it's interesting when you kind of look at the sum of all parts here. I mean, what happened and how it sort of all played out was interesting by seeing how social media reports, of course, linked a private jet. Of course, we never knew who was on this private jet, but this was coming to Toronto, and it really required others who are in Major League Baseball as professional reporters to have to report and ultimately try to confirm this point. And of course, I believe that any opportunity at the 11th hour, because this was also corresponding with reports that Ohtani's decision was imminent and was going to happen by the end of the day. And of course, it was a member of someone within the Dodgers media who said it's a done deal, and he is and has made the decision Ohtani has to go to Toronto. So all of these pieces are getting people, of course, our fan base in Toronto extremely excited about what's happening. But as it turned out, Ohtani was residing and staying in Southern California this whole time. And I think that that type of excitement and buzz maybe made the Dodgers actually feel some angst and anxiousness that, hey, if they really wanted Ohtani with everything that was happening on that Friday and that buzz, that they were going to have to up the ante. 10 years, $700 million. I think it's fair to say they did.
The Jays were also suggested to be in the running for All-Star Juan Soto, who ended up with the Yankees. They, of course, didn't get Ohtani. Where do they go from here?
You know, it's a good question. I will say, you know, in some cases, when these types of deals don't work out initially, you feel like you lose out on the potential of a generational talent like Soto, like Ohtani. I actually think for the Toronto Blue Jays, in some cases, it could work out for the best. I think the priority right now for Ross Atkins is to go and try to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and get Bo Bichette locked up to long-term deals. The truth is that the Blue Jays core is a young core, and they have a tremendous pitching staff. Listen, they're a playoff team as it exists right now. So I think the focus is still trying to make a financial commitment to try to bolster the lineup, add another left-handed bat as they would have with either Soto or Ohtani, and just look for ways to improve already a good ball club to try to put them over the top.
That's sports analyst and sport media professor Dan Berlin. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt.